All right, so this is our example 1 problem. So we're comparing the functions f of x equals 225x and the function g of x equals 4 raised to the x power. We're going to compare these by completing parts A and B. So for part A, we're going to fill in the table below, and it's already completed it for us for x equals 3. So if we look at this, we have our x column. Our x column is right here. Here's our 3. It went ahead and did these calculations for us. So it did 225 times our x value, which is 3. So it's substituting in our x value, which is 3. And when it did that, you use a calculator, you come up with 675. Now my suggestion is use some form of calculator, either a handheld calculator, you can use a website calculator. The one I like to use on the web is called Desmos Scientific Calculator. It does very well in performing these functions. Then for the 64, that is 4 raised to the x power. Well, we know x is 3. Well, with a calculator, you would go 4 raised to the 3rd power, or you could go 4 times 4 times 4, and that equals 64. Now we're going to continue to do this. Let's do our next line. 225 times 4. So we'll do 225 times 4. When you get to that, you get 896. So again, we're just substituting in our x value right there. And then when we do the next one, it's 4 to the 4th power. Again, substituting in that x value. So you can either do the 4 times that, or just grab a calculator and do 4 times 4 raised to the 4th power, and you get 256. You will fill out the table. Let's go ahead and do the next line. We have to the 5th power. So 225 times 5, that's our x value, right? You go ahead and do that. Again, I am using Desmos calculator. 225 times 5 equals 1,120. Then we do 4 to the 5th power. Again, that's our x value we're using. Over to our calculator, we have 4 to the 5th equals 1024. So a much larger jump. So if we evaluate this, we're seeing a pretty steady jump on the f of x. The g of x is making big jumps each time. So let's just see what happens at 6. So 225 times 6, again, that's our x. So when you do times 6, you get 1344. You go ahead and enter that into your table. And let's do 4 to the 6th power. See what that comes up with. So my guess is we're going to have another very large jump. So it equals 4,096. And let's go ahead and follow this through. Repeat the step. 225 times 7. Again, that's our x value. 225 times 7 would be 1568. Go ahead and complete 1568. And then do 4 to the 7th power. gives us 16,384. All right. So we've completed our table. Now it's asking for x greater than 6, so everything greater here, so everything down in this area right here. The table suggests that f of x is always, sometimes, or never greater than g of x. So we got to decide. If we look at this, f of x at 6 is 1344, and g of x is 4096. So f of x is less than, so it's not greater. Let's look at 7, 1568, 16,000. G of x is much greater. So when we look at this, we see that f of x is never greater once we get past this number 6. So the answer for the last part would be never. So this is how we complete example 1 problems. You'll be experiencing different tables with different values. Make sure you're using some form of calculator as the values get very large and you're not expected to do this math by hand. If you have any questions, please go through the video again, see if you get clarifying. If not, please send a message in the chat. Thank you.